Holidays can bring out the best in your relationships, or they can reveal manipulative behaviors that leave you feeling hurt and confused. The holidays tend to accelerate everything. If you're struggling with disconnection, with fighting, or with feeling uncertain about where you stand, in this video today, let's talk about the games that a lot of avoidant people play and how you can respond. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and in a lot of my recent videos, I've been very positive about avoidant people because I know that there are a lot of good, ethically avoidant people out there. However, the hard reality is that there's also a lot of very manipulative, unethical avoidant people out there. And even some people who feel in the middle and do a lot of manipulative things, even if they don't mean to be hurtful. These behaviors can be very damaging in relationships. They can leave you feeling exhausted, hurt, and wounded. You might be dealing with disconnection, no contact situations, unresolved conflicts, or you're navigating potential breakups or divorces right now because of this ongoing bad behavior and harmful situations from an avoidant partner. If so, I hear you loud and clear. Not every avoidant person is good, just like not every human is good. Many of them out there are looking to exploit situations for their own gain. This is not to demonize avoidant people in general, but to negotiate a healthy relationship with the people you can and separate from the people you can't. Again, I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. I'm not here to tell people to stay avoidant. I'm here to help people become secure. In this video today, you're going to learn how to spot red flags and green flags in avoidant behavior, how to separate out that ethical from the manipulative. You'll understand why avoidant people act this way, and you'll discover how to maintain trust and protect your relationship during the holiday season, if that's the right thing to do with your avoidant person in particular. So buckle up and let's get going. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And I am going to explain very briefly a little bit of what you need to know about avoidant attachment style. If you're old from this channel and you've been here a long time, thank you so much for your support. I'm glad you're here. Let's go through this quickly and help you refresh your mind about avoidant attachment. Avoidant attachment comes from childhood issues. At some point, that child did not receive the oxytocin bonding they needed to feel safe, connected, warm and snuggly, and intimate with other human beings, their family, their caregivers. They didn't get it. Either their caregivers were traumatized, stressed out, distant, aloof, isolated, whatever it may be. That kid was sent through boarding school, raised by nannies, sent through boarding school, never hardly saw their parents, once a month for parenting time kind of thing. Or they experienced really chaotic, painful, hurtful, arbitrary behaviors from others, and they externalized it and said, it's not something wrong with me. For some reason, the people around me cannot be trusted. They impose their will upon me, and I despise it. And I will not allow other people to take from me like this. Either way, they did not get the oxytocin bonding they need to enter their parasympathetic nervous system, the calm, rest, and digest mode. Instead, they're in chronic sympathetic nervous system activation. Fight or flight, it's always running. Their risk assessment is always on. Their threat detection is always running, and they are always ready to navigate stress and get through it and escape if they have to. Okay, fight or flight is always ready. This means they can never really relax. They don't get oxytocin, which means they also don't get GABA, G-A-B-A, gamma-aminobutyric acid, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. It shuts down cortisol. It stops them from feeling cortisol and allows them to just go and really relax and let go of things, especially in the evening time. One thing that alcohol does in particular is flood your system with GABA, and it shuts down the prefrontal cortex, which is your judgment center, the cause and effect center. I can't do that because this could happen center. That's one thing alcohol does, is force a flood of GABA into your brain. GABA, naturally occurring, is supposed to help you feel that calm and relaxed all the time. Not drunk, but relaxed, okay? Avoidant people don't get that. So they are always feeling amped up and stressed, which is why a lot of avoidant people overuse alcohol to force GABA into their system in the only way they know how, because they don't know how to get it through calm, intimate, connected moments with people, because they don't have those moments. So that's number one, the overview of avoidant attachment style. They get burned out, stressed out. They're constantly perceiving threats, risks, high expectations. They try to meet them. They really diminish their own ability to feel joy or pleasure or happiness at all. Mostly what they get is dopamine. So it's a dopamine, cortisol, back and forth, back and forth. Those are the primary brain chemicals they're playing with, not the other range of chemicals they should be getting. They're in a constant survival state. This is avoidant attachment in a nutshell. Now, you can be ethically attached, ethically avoidantly attached, where you are trying to just get through Don't hurt anybody, live and let live, but just stay a little bit distant from people because you can't trust them to be emotionally calm and regulated when the real problems hit. So you maintain a healthy barrier between you and others. You build your house. You build a giant 20-foot wall around your house. You stand on top of your wall, sipping your coffee in the morning and talking to your neighbors over your wall. That's ethically avoidant. Manipulatively avoidant, as you go down the spectrum, more and more believe that other people are manipulative, hurtful, and malicious. They develop a dislike and then even perhaps a hatred of other humans. And then they say other people would do bad things to me if they could. Therefore, I can justify X, Y, and Z. These are usually more defensive tactics they're using, but they're justified by saying other people would do so much worse, so I'm okay if I do this. That's manipulative attachment, a manipulative avoidant attachment style down here on this side of the spectrum. We are trying to help you differentiate between ethical avoidant and manipulative avoidant, and then only bond with the ethical avoidant, and then make sure that you're getting your needs met. And the goal is not to tiptoe around the avoidance forever. It's to invite them into a deeper relationship where they begin fixing it and become secure, and then you can build a secure connection where no one's tiptoeing around anything, and you can both feel calm and relaxed. The goal is to help that avoidant person feel that immersion into their parasympathetic nervous system. As that sympathetic deactivates, their oxytocin receptors open up, they get that bonding and intimacy they've always looked for. They generate their own healthy GABA. Their vagus nerve stimulates in their chest, which initiates different breathing, different heart rate, and rest and digest mode down here in their stomach to generate more oxytocin and serotonin and testosterone and improve their immune system and push off risks like cancer, heart disease, and stroke. This is all very important for a relationship and for the individuals involved. This is attachment in a nutshell. This is avoidant attachment in particular. These are the issues. Now, many avoidant people, because they don't know how to connect with other people and they're trying to talk to you over their wall while sipping their coffee, they play games with other people. Many times they don't mean to, avoidant people do, but they're managing other people more than relating to other people or relating with other people, okay? Games that they can play. Sometimes withholding affection, pulling away when closeness is expected, like around the holidays. Sometimes they do this because they are overwhelmed and they don't mean to pull away. Other times they pull away as punishment against you to try to show you and make you experience pain, cortisol, so that they can make you behave differently. It's behavior modification. Pulling away because they're overwhelmed is ethical, okay? It's not intended maliciously or hurtfully. Pulling away to manage your behavior and control you and shape you like a lab rat, definitely more manipulative territory, okay? The silent treatment. Using no contact or sudden withdrawal to avoid holiday pressures. Again, if they're doing it because their cortisol is so high and unregulated, more ethical. If they're doing the silent treatment to punish you and shape your behavior, manipulative. Make sense? They are manipulating an object. It's as if you are a chair that isn't sitting right, so they're consistently moving you around and adjusting the legs on your chair to make you more comfortable for what they want. Okay? Again, ambiguous plans. It's another game. They keep their plans vague or they refuse to commit. They can sometimes create some confusion during this. Things are very vague and unspoken. If they're doing this ethically avoidant, people say, I don't want to give a promise that I can't keep, or I don't want to give a promise that traps us into something. Ethical avoidant. I don't want to let you know what I'm doing and you don't need to know what I'm doing, and I'm going to be benevolent and allow myself to go to some of your events perhaps, but I'm controlling the flow of information because I don't trust you and it keeps you on your toes so you're eager to please me. Manipulative. You guys see the difference? Same behaviors, different approaches, different intentions. One is driven by, it's too much for me to handle, so I step back. One is driven by, you are inconvenient to me, therefore I will inflict pain to make you act different. Very different intentions, same behavior, looks the same when you experience it. This is why it's very hard for people who come across my channel to understand why I would be positive about avoidant people. Because they're like, Adam, they're horrible monsters. They're nightmares. They murder people. They kill people. They ruin relationships. And they enjoy your suffering. Well, yes, some of them do. Especially people off the scale with personality disorders. Some of them do. Many of them do not. Ethically avoidant, okay? They are just deeply overwhelmed. All of these issues create confusion and mistrust. They can trigger deep-seated mistrust, especially if you have really bonded with this person because maybe you have anxious attachment style. You're used to this. If you're used to this pattern, you expect these behaviors from your own caregivers as children, and now you're living out these patterns and you're trying to earn approval from your partner to disprove mom or dad from your childhood, that's an issue that you have as well, and that can make it more hurtful. This can lead to unresolved conflicts, a feeling of instability in the relationship, feeling unsafe, resentment, confusion, distance. They might pull away and go no contact for a few weeks, and you wonder, what the heck did I do? Why are you punishing me? And they're not even punishing you. They're ethically avoidant. They're like, why are they chasing me? Why won't they just let me rest? And you both probably feel like the victim. This can happen, okay? I want to go through some red flags in particular so that we can navigate those together. Red flag number one I want you to be aware of is avoiding discussing holiday plans. They're showing reluctance to talk about shared holiday time. They don't want to go through that with you at all. Really big sign that the avoidant person either is feeling massively overwhelmed or is trying to seize control by playing a game. Either way, it's going to be kind of hurtful and disruptive to you. You're going to have to suss out, are they just feeling overwhelmed or being hurtful? You can actually ask them. One of the biggest things to do with an ethically avoidant person to flag it out is ask them, hey, you seem really reluctant to make plans. What's going on? What's happening here? All right. Anxiously attached people are terrified to do that because they're afraid of hearing, well, you're not worth plans. They're afraid of that. But honestly, just saying, hey, you seem hesitant to nail down a plan. Is something wrong? Are you concerned about something happening? Okay. Ethically avoidant people typically they'll tense up, they'll do the one eye look and the nostril flare, and they'll kind of stress, but they'll have a conversation with you usually. Manipulative people will make it into an attack and then will attack you. If asking them for data turns into them punishing you and attacking you, pretty much larger, clearer sign of manipulative avoidant. Okay. Very clearer sign. If you trying to understand leads to punishment, warning. Red flag number two, they downplay the relationship. They keep things casual to avoid expectations. This is a holiday situationship, right? We don't really need labels, babe. Where we're going, we don't need labels. Labels are for squares. We're cool, right? No, people need labels. People need to know what to expect in a relationship. If they are desperately doing backflips to avoid any kind of expectations, more ethically avoidant people typically don't engage in situationships. They can. It's rarer. They're usually more willing to understand that labels are important and that some sort of expectation is crucial. Not always. Sometimes ethically avoidant people can fall into this trap too. But if they're really leveraging no expectations against you and telling you you're unreasonable for having those wants and that casual is superior to real relationships, much clearer sign of more manipulative avoidant tendencies. Red flag number three, they disappear suddenly on you and maybe frequently. They cut contact before or during the holidays. They leave you anxious, questioning your value. They just bail out frequently over and over and over, and you're left hanging for a week or days or weeks. I've seen this a number of times. This is probably not someone who's going to work with you. For an ethically avoidant person to work with you and become more secure, because remember, the goal is not to just walk on eggshells for the rest of your life accommodating them. It is to build a secure relationship for both of you. Even if you start off helping them ease into the relationship, great. Over time, more secure is expected. If they are running away, freaking out and bailing out and just making that decision themselves, odds are not good they are in this in a healthy way. Odds are actually pretty bad, and it's going to be tougher getting them to stay around and have the conversations. Again, ethically avoidant people can be massively overwhelmed and duck out because they can't handle it. Manipulative people will use this against you and leverage it against you. They'll use it as a tactic to punish you. They'll duck out whenever they feel like it, and if you ever ask about it, they'll punish you in return for it or bail out even longer. Really bad sign. Okay. Either way, this is a really big red flag you need to be aware of. It means your relationship might not be hopeless, but I'll just say this. I get a lot of questions from people that say, Adam, my avoidant partner lives in a different country. We've been together for 4 years. They only speak to me once a month, and it's never over video. It's only over voice or only text. And they're too busy to conversate with me like 29 days out of the month. But that one day of the month, they want like really wild phone sex and they want nudes and stuff. And also, if I ever bring up a relationship, they won't speak to me for 6 months and I have to just wait. How can I get them to marry me? And I'm like, I think we're at a place where the work would take probably 30 years. And even trying to do the work to try to fix it would shatter everything. And they're like, well, I can't have conversations. So what can I do? And no. Manipulating them into trying to like you more so that they get addicted to you. That's really all you could do, would be forceful manipulation. That's really the only thing you could do at that point to make that person like you more. They have chosen to duck out of relationships. Same thing with disappearing consistently and not coming back. They're pushing back. And into red flag number 4, using sarcasm and dismissiveness to undermine meaningful conversations, to disconnect from you, to deflect with sarcastic humor or dodge out or just say, that's stupid. We don't need to go there. That's not for us. They push away meaningful conversations or plans or connections. This means they are really not interested. A lot of women reach out to me in particular and say, how do I get him to take it more seriously? And he is doing everything in his power to scream to her that he's not interested. And she's like, no, there's got to be a way. What can I do? Very, very, very difficult to come back from something like that, okay? Not impossible. But again, to fix this, you need to be able to have conversations, okay? Recognize these 4 red flags as part of avoidant attachment, not as a reflection of your worth. This is not personal to you. They're not doing these things because you don't deserve love. That's your anxious attachment speaking. This is their avoidant attachment screaming, okay? Just be aware of that. Now, some green flags for healthy connection with avoidant people. Signs that secure behavior would be good, that they're going to work with you. These behaviors show effort. They're moving in that right direction. All of this is very important. You need to track these because it tells you that a relationship with an avoidant person could work and could become more secure over time. The other ones, you're going to be stuck in limbo forever, and they're going to milk you for as long as they can until they get tired of you and get enough cortisol and then move on. And you'll be dumped after 20 years sometimes. And you're going to say, why did I waste all that time? I didn't have kids. I didn't get married. I held my career. Now I'm just sitting here alone. What do I do? Don't be that person. Okay. Follow these green flags. They are really important. You see these. Okay. Green flag number 1, they're open to low pressure activities. They're agreeing to quiet, low key holiday plans. They're willing to listen. They're willing to build. Okay. I'm low-key pressure activities and plans overall. For the holidays, really important, yes. But even working on, they're open to the conversations about labels. They're open to conversations about expectations. They can have talks with you. They may not agree to things yet, but they will listen. They will have conversations with you. They'll be honest with you. This is a pretty good green flag that you're dealing with more of an ethical avoidant, okay? And they're willing to make some plans with you over time, especially if they see some value in it, if they understand it. Green flag number 1. Green flag number 2, consistency over grand gestures. More manipulative avoidant relies on grand gestures because they can't do consistently loving, healthy things. They need the grand gestures to cover for the daily whipping and beatings that you're going to take, okay? It's not going to be pleasant. They offer instead steady connection in small ways. Avoidant people tend to be fairly practical. They give you practical attention, practical gifts, practical care. They're there when it matters. They're there when you're sick. They're there when you really need help and there's a crisis. They show up in those ways because they know what to do. They're consistent. A lot of times people will ask an ethical avoidant, like, I don't even really know if you love me. And the avoidant person says, what do you mean? I'm still here. And I've been here through all of these arguments that we've had. The meaning is I could have left and found joy, pleasure, and hedonism somewhere else. And I'm choosing not to. My sacrifice of joy is my measurement of loving you. So I'm choosing to be unhappy with you when I could probably be happy somewhere else, but I don't want to be. I'm here with you. People misunderstand that. When the avoidant person says, well, I'm here with you, aren't I? It means, well, I'm miserable with you and you better step up. That's not usually what they're saying. And if they are, that's manipulative avoidant. But typically an ethically avoidant person, that is their demonstration of love, is suffering for you and foregoing joy because they haven't experienced the oxytocin bonding yet. So they don't really know what it's like. Green flag number 3, they respect your boundaries. They don't pressure you for intensity and dopamine pleasure. And they're not harvesting you and modifying your behavior by force and with pain. They also maybe don't retreat entirely and run away screaming from intimacy. Maybe they pull back and they're nervous, right? You see, especially avoidant women, when you try to get intimate with them, their eyes kind of get bigger and they kind of make this look and their face goes completely blank. You can tell when an avoidant woman is activated and triggered because her face will go completely blank. And a lot of people, a lot of guys that are with them, take that as she's not interested. She doesn't like me. She's upset at me. It usually just means she doesn't know what your expectations are. So her risk assessment has been activated and she doesn't know what's happening. So now she's going into risk management mode. That's what that is. That's her sympathetic nervous system activating. Okay. Her nostrils might flare a little. Her pupils might get smaller. Her eyes will get bigger and she'll kind of get a little stiff and she'll kind of follow through mechanically with whatever you're like expecting. But that's what that is. Okay. Avoidant men in particular, they might not do that. Typically, they kind of turn their head like this and kind of look at you in the peripheral. It's kind of like, well, if you attack me, then you won't hit me straight on in my vitals, right? But I'm kind of going to watch you peripherally sort of thing. That happens a lot. Again, that's sympathetic nervous system activation. Be aware of that. But if they're still having the conversations with you, if they're listening, that's the target you're looking for. And if they're respecting your boundaries, if they're asking you what your boundaries are, and you tell them, I don't like this, so they know they don't do that. Right? And they also are clear about their boundaries. People mistake that. Avoidant people who give you their boundaries, it's really important. Now, if it's, I expect this and this and this, and don't ever do this, and don't ever talk to me on a Thursday, and don't ever, no, like that's not right. But hey, this would make me feel like you don't respect me, so don't do this. This would bother me. If they're giving you those things, respect that. And respecting their boundaries actually is a show of respecting them as a human being. If your avoidant partner is showing these signs, it's a good indicator of a more secure approach and a willingness to grow with you. They just don't understand how yet. And that's perfectly okay. If they don't understand how yet, but they're willing to learn, that's the green flag system that we're looking for. That's a clue that you probably are dealing with more of an ethical avoidant. So here's how you can react to these avoidant games without compromising yourself. There's a few key things you have to do if you're with an avoidant partner. Whether they're ethical or manipulative, you must do the following. Number 1 is to stay grounded. Avoidants might push boundaries to test reactions. Even the ethical ones do. If you saw my I Wish You Knew podcast where I interviewed the avoidant man, Kimmy, he talked about tests that he does on his partners. He loves them and cares for them, but he tests them to see what they'll do during stressful situations. Some ethical avoidant people can do that. Okay. Stay calm and be clear about your needs without chasing. The worst thing you can do is activate your anxious side and start pursuing, chasing, demanding, getting resentful. If that's happening, and it does in some circumstances, do your own work to become more fully secure in yourself, more emotionally regulated, and don't chase. Be clear about what you need. You don't have to be overly accommodating. In fact, don't. But you do need to stay calm and not chase. The chasing is really what sets off the avoidant person more than anything else. Second thing you've got to do is be clear about boundaries. If they pull away, communicate that you're open, but you're not going to tolerate mixed signals that cause hurt or mistrust. Hey, I know you're probably stressed out. You pulled away. I know that. You're probably not doing it maliciously, but I do need us to have an expectation of communicating and working through our issues. Like we can't have long gaps of a week without communicating every time we have a disagreement or every time there's a small bump. I can't take that. I don't want that for us. So can we please make a commitment right now that we will work through issues? If we have to take an hour or two away, cool, but days is not acceptable. All right? Set that clear boundary, stick to it. And then offer a clear solution so that you can actually have those communications and conflicts in a healthy way. Remember that conflict does not mean confrontation. The avoidant person's afraid every conflict will become a confrontation. It shouldn't be. There shouldn't be any confrontations in your relationship. They should be conflicts that resolve. A conflict is just a question. Are our goals aligned or not? That's the question during a conflict. You have to ask each other communication questions and understand each other more to see if you're in conflict or not. Actually, we're not. Cool. Resolved. Done. then you fix it, and then you step forward and meet both of your goals, and you advance both your goals through the conversation. That's what a conflict is. A confrontation is our goals are definitely in conflict, and I'm going to win over you. That's the difference. Conflict, confrontation. Make sense? The third thing you've got to do is avoid taking it personally. Recognize that all these behaviors are more about that avoidant person's attachment style than a direct judgment on you. Again, this is very hard if you have anxious attachment style or disorganized attachment style, which has anxious components to it. The avoidant person's behaviors are likely going to trigger your own sense of inferiority and unworthiness. You're going to say, Dad was not right, and how dare you make me feel this way? And it's going to activate, and then you're going to be desperate to prove Dad wrong in this relationship. You can't do that. That's just dragging in all kinds of baggage that will confirm to the avoidant person that you're dysregulated and can't be trusted. They pull away. You get put into the bucket with the rest of untrustworthy humanity, and now there's a wall between you. You've got to resolve your own attachment challenges and get through that so that you can stay calm and not take it personally. One of the worst things you could possibly do is take it personally. Okay? Now, to maintain trust in this relationship, here's what I recommend. Openly share how some of these behaviors impact you. Focus on honesty without demanding change. Just say, hey, I need to talk to you about some challenges that I'm experiencing. Sometimes your behaviors are initiating a response in me. And this is not to blame you or yell at you for doing those things. I'm just letting you know that we're having a reaction. It's like a chemical reaction here, and I'm not liking it, and we really need to change it. Okay. Avoidant people respond better to calm, honest expressions than any kind of like harsh ultimatum, especially blame. They're used to being blamed, you guys. That's why they're avoidant. This is why blame never works for avoidant people. This is why other videos and other creators yelling and screaming at avoidant people doesn't make them change anything. This is why when people come here and say, Adam, you're too kind to avoidant people, you need to scream at them more. Well, no, people have screamed at them their entire life. That's the problem. Instead, we need to work on building sustainable, trusting, intimate relationships where everybody can feel calm and at peace. And that's ultimately what stops the avoidant behavior and fosters secure behavior, which is what we want in relationships. We don't want to tiptoe on eggshells forever. So let's talk right now about how to prevent breakups, some long-term solutions, and how to foster that secure attachment. Okay, let's create some lasting connections and rebuild trust with that avoidant partner to focus on practical steps you can take to ensure your relationship will thrive, even through this holiday season. Rather than simply reacting to avoidant behaviors over and over and over and showing them that you're dysregulated, let's discuss how to actively build secure attachment that can actually last. This really is the long-term solution that's going to prevent those frustrating, confusing cycles that lead to breakups over time. And this will help both of you feel seen, valued, understood, and like you're in a fair relationship. Okay. Number one, you need to focus on stability over drama. Avoid making accusations about anything this holiday season. Accusations and blame, again, they really don't help. It's just going to reinforce their avoidant tendencies. Instead, emphasize calm, steady connection. Hey, there's a challenge and there's a reaction happening. When you do this, it's not your fault, but here's how I experience it. It would mean a lot. I'm going to try on my side to diminish that, but I want to hear about why you're doing this so I can understand. And let's find if there's a way to kind of change that behavior at the same time. And I'll be changing on my side too. This will lead greater harmony. Everything will be smooth. We'll avoid this problem, right? That level of communication right there, really, really helpful. Have that steady, connected conversation back and forth. And please, 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 for the love of all that is good, avoid blame. You're doing this and it's making me feel this and I don't like it. So you have to, no, that break up right now. Just break up right now if you're going to have that conversation. Okay. Not going to work. I also want you to start encouraging small, consistent steps with your avoidant partner. Request simple, achievable actions that show commitment without overwhelming them. And you can actually say, you know what? I really care about you. And I know we've dealt with some mixed signals. For us to move forward, I really just need to see some small, consistent steps. My expectations are not up here. I don't expect you to marry me tomorrow. I need to see this. Here's a couple things that I need from you so I can feel loved and I can feel cared for in this relationship. And at the same time, what can I also do to make that feel fair for you so that you also feel cared for and loved in this relationship? That transaction piece right there, that reciprocation, that fairness, that is absolutely crucial. A lot of people say, you know, they get resentful. They hit a certain point and say, you know, I'm really tired in our relationship and I need you to start doing some things so I feel loved. And the avoidant person here is, oh boy, They're mad. They're not happy. Once again, of course. So surprise, surprise, they're not happy. And they need more emotions and more stimulation. It's not good enough. And I get nothing in return. I'm just expected to perform on command. Oh boy, here we go. No, hey, here are some things I need. And also, how can I make that fair to you and give to you in return? If you're in a loving, intimate relationship, that should be a no-brainer. If you're right now angry and fuming at the scream that you have to provide something in return, end your relationship because you're not ready for a relationship yourself. Okay. It must be fair. It must be reciprocal. Your needs need to get met, but so do theirs. So let's keep that balanced. Okay. Let's prevent that cycle of mistrust and disconnection. If you need help on this, you guys, I do have a repair program designed for individuals and couples who are struggling with this approach. If you're dealing with avoidant behavior that's threatening your relationship and your stability, my attachment repair program offers guidance from my certified coaches and myself to help you build secure attachment together, rebuild trust if it's been wounded, and prevent this constant cycle of mistrust and disconnection. Okay. I am here to help, and with the right tools and consistent effort, you can build a secure relationship. I want to make it abundantly clear the goal is not to tiptoe around avoidant behavior forever. And avoidant people out there, you're not really happy in that. You're just kind of surviving and getting through, going from moments of pleasure to sadness to pleasure to sadness, or just numbness. I know that that's not what you want. If you're wanting to build that greater relationship, that is the target. You do need to become securely attached together as a couple. Everything I'm describing here in this video so far is designed to help you with the initial steps toward that relationship. Guys, the holidays don't have to be a time of disconnection and confusion. And they can be, but they don't have to be. With this video and the insights we've shared, you can manage avoidant tendencies in your relationship from either side and turn this season into a time of growth. And remember that the attachment repair program is here to help you get past the surface issues and build a more secure relationship. It's designed for men and women dealing with avoidant attachment in their relationships from either side. If you're the avoidant partner or love an avoidant partner, this program can work for you. It will give you strategies for lasting trust and deeper understanding. I'd love to hear from you guys out there. Have you ever noticed these games in your relationships, these pullback behaviors? Do you think that they're more ethical, or do you think that they're more manipulative? I would love to hear your perspective out there. Share your experiences below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and we all are here to support each other. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and you can reach out to me by email if you have something private you want to share or you have a situation going on. I'm support@adamlanesmith.com. That's my email. You can find me there. Send me whatever you've got. Ask me questions. I do also offer free consultations with my special client support managers. They come in and they help you assess what you need, and they can talk to you about what's going on. If you really need that assistance and you're not sure if one of my courses or program might be good for you, they're available. Please send me an email at support@adamlanesmith.com. I'm here to help. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications for this channel. Join me in my live streams, and I'll see you next time.